star defensive end Myles Garrett says, "This is embarrassing." He's mad about it, and everybody else should be fired up about it, but Stefanski's just keeping the same coach approach that he always does in press conferences. Me, I'm pissed off. It goes further back than this. Now the turnover battle has been lost in 9 straight games. That dates back to week 12 of the 2024 season. Cleveland hasn't forced a turnover since week 16 of last season. What are we doing? And all we're doing is giving up turnovers. Did you see the Flacco pick when he was trying to go to...
Obviously, I don't concern myself with outside type of things. But I'm committed to his development, just like all of our rookies. So we'll continue to focus on getting our guys better. And that's what we'll stay committed to, and that's what's important.
The Cleveland Browns are drowning already, sitting at 0-2, and their head coach looks like he's about ready to light a prayer candle just to get Shedeur Sanders in uniform. Forget contracts, forget logic. This is pure survival football, and it's messier than a busted coverage on 3rd and long. When a franchise starts cold calling college quarterbacks like it's a fundraiser hotline, you already know the panic button got smashed to pieces. And trust me, this story is wilder than the Browns playbook and twice as embarrassing. Karma doesn't play fair in the NFL. It hits like a freight train with no brakes. For Kevin Stefanski, this isn't just a tough hit. It's a blindside knockout without a helmet, the type of hit that leaves the whole stadium gasping. He strutted into this season acting like he had every answer in his clipboard, brushing off the idea of Shedeur Sanders like he was some random freshman waiting in line for cafeteria food. But 2 ugly games later, 2 straight losses piling up, suddenly the grand plan crumbles. Now he's scrambling, begging for the same quarterback he once dismissed like he wasn't even worth a thought. Oh, now it's convenient. Now the desperation light bulb finally flickers on, like a last-second Hail Mary that barely makes it past the line of scrimmage. That's not vision, that's straight-up backpedaling.
Are you ready for Gabriel?
I am. I said it yesterday and I'll say it again.
Are you ready for Gabriel?
It doesn't matter.
All right, give me a Can I believe in something, for God's sake?
Nah, you're going to see plenty of Dylan Gabriel this year.
Will I get to see my guy?
Yes. You'll see plenty
Will
of
I get to see Shedeur?
You'll see plenty
Do
of
you think now, Chris, after this start, Shedeur's going to start a couple games?
See, karma doesn't whisper, it screams in surround sound. You toss Shedeur aside, talk like you've got every answer in the world, and then watch those answers fold faster than a plastic lawn chair in a thunderstorm. The Browns' offense went from being hyped as a playoff machine to looking like they never even installed a playbook in practice. Fans are booing, rivals are cracking up, and Cleveland is already penning obituaries for the season while Stefanski suddenly remembers, maybe, just maybe, the kid he treated like an afterthought is the only shot left at salvation. That's not coaching. That's pure panic dressed up in khakis and a fake smile. What makes this whole saga even crazier is how fast people flip their script. One week, the Browns swear they can grind it out with the guys they've got. Next week, suddenly it's Shedeur Sanders being pictured like a Marvel superhero, cape blowing in the wind, flying in to erase bad coaching decisions. That's like bragging you don't need a fire extinguisher, only to sprint for it once your curtains are already on fire. Too little, too late. They laughed at that extinguisher when it was sitting in the corner, and now they're coughing on smoke. The optics are flat out embarrassing. It's the coach equivalent of unfollowing someone on social media, only to come crawling back with a follow request after their numbers blow up.
Sanders is a ball player, fellas, and I love that he went out there. You can say what you want about that man. Sooner or later, that ball's about to snap in the middle of that field between that 100 and that 53, and we're going to see what football's about, and Shedeur showed.
Yeah, no, Shedeur showed up. Well, in the words of Denny Green, he is who we thought he was. This is the same person we've seen the last 4 or 5 years, from Jackson State to Colorado, always poised. I'm not just talking about on the field. He's always poised off the field. The interviewers, these reporters, they try and rattle him. You get all this stuff on social media. He's always Shedeur Sanders. Smiling, respectful, knowledgeable, and that's what you get. Deion did an amazing job.
In Cleveland, you got to go through 2 individuals to insert yourself as, the starter. Dylan Gabriel, who's now the second quarterback at hand, and then obviously Joe Flacco. And when you consider those things, it's like, what situation is better? You know,
But he didn't know that he was going to wind up in Cleveland.
No.
He didn't know that. He opted for what was behind curtain number 2 rather than the known curtain in Baltimore.
Nobody's fooled. Nobody's buying this act. And let's be real. It's not just karma smacking Stefanski, it's karma hitting every critic who rolled their eyes when the name Shedeur Sanders came up. This is the same crowd that clowned his game, laughed at the hype, and said he was nothing but smoke and mirrors. Now they're sitting there watching Cleveland go winless with quarterbacks who can't even keep a pulse in the offense for 4 quarters straight. Suddenly, all those haters are real quiet, scrolling through stats like desperate college kids cramming for finals, praying no one remembers the nonsense they said. But the internet? Oh, it never forgets. Karma doesn't just remember, it screenshots, bookmarks, and plays it back in 4K. And here's the wild part. Shedeur doesn't even need to step on an NFL field yet. Just his presence, just the idea of him, is haunting the Browns like a ghost of competence they can't shake.
Shedeur got on the field. You watching the game, Chad, there's a lot of Shedeur Sanders fans. What did you think of his first outing?
Listen, all the talk and the narratives and the storylines and whatever you want to say, sooner or later that ball's about to snap. And that young man we watched in Colorado, who's one of the best football players in the nation, is now looking like one of the best football players in the nation at another level. That's what it was. I knew the collusion and all the stuff, like I said, you want to go through. You saw what Shedeur Sanders was capable of. We all knew what Shedeur Sanders was capable of, and he's going to show that he should start there. Flacco, there, Kenny Pickett was hurt. That little itty-bitty boy from Oregon, whatever his name is.
Dylan Gabriel.
Gabriel, he's an itty-bitty spot.
You know it's bad when a guy who hasn't even put on your uniform yet has more juice than the ones already on the field. Fans are literally chanting his name before he even steps through the tunnel. This isn't just desperation. It's straight-up humiliation dressed up as hope. It's like failing your driver's test twice, then begging the instructor to just take the wheel for you. And the worst part, fans aren't even shocked anymore. They're numb, trapped in decades of deja vu where the Browns somehow always find new and inventive ways to crumble. Stefanski's latest move, begging for help from the very same player he once treated like an afterthought. But here's the part that stings the most. Does Stefanski even realize what he's setting himself up for? Because if Shedeur Sanders steps in and actually balls out, that doesn't just save the team. It exposes the coach completely. Suddenly, everyone's asking why this wasn't the plan from the start. Suddenly, all the excuses evaporate, and the narrative lights up like a giant neon sign flashing. Coach didn't believe until he had no choice. That's not leadership. That's survival mode. And in the NFL, survival mode is just a polite way of saying your job is dangling by a single thread. The fans see it, the players see it, the entire league sees it.
1000% agree with bro that I think we might see Shedeur by London. It's bad, y'all. It's really bad. I'm ready for Dylan too, though, y'all. I understand that Dylan is the number 2 quarterback on the roster. That's what I'm saying. Put him in first and then let Shedeur go get his. Y'all, eventually they gonna put Shedeur in. They not just gonna stick with Dylan Gabriel the rest of the season. I don't see that happen. But yes, I'm ready for Dylan because when Dylan gets in, that means Shedeur's closer to getting in. That's what I'm ready for. At this point, we ain't getting nothing out.
Stefanski isn't rallying his troops. He's clinging to the last lifeboat while the whole ship goes under. And the way it's unfolding, it's almost too perfect, like karma decided to write the script itself on primetime TV. The same guy who wanted to prove he could win without Shedeur now can't even win with the quarterbacks he handpicked. The same guy who thought standing firm made him look strong now looks weak, bending over backwards to fix the mess he created. It's the NFL equivalent of refusing to bring an umbrella, then acting like you love the rain while sprinting to buy one soaking wet. And the timing? Oh, it couldn't be juicier. The very coach who once acted like Shedeur was never the answer is now secretly running plays in his head where Shedeur is the only answer. That's instant karma wrapped in brown and orange misery for the whole world to see. And here's the kicker. The more desperate Stefanski gets, the worse the whole thing looks. The haters can't even laugh at this circus anymore. They're too busy choking on their pride while watching Cleveland implode in broad daylight. Stefanski isn't just begging for help at this point, he's begging for forgiveness. From the fans, from his own locker room, and maybe even from Shedeur himself. But that's the beauty of karma. You don't get to pick when it smacks you in the face. You can't rewrite your stance after the fact. Either you believed from the jump, or you get dragged through the mud later. And right now, Stefanski is knee-deep in it, flailing around like he's trying to convince people this mud bath was part of the master plan all along.
Line.
given what Shedeur went through and what you went through, just watching tonight, does it make it almost more meaningful than just a football game?
I'm not going to say meaningful. We've already spoken like 3 times a day. We just got off the phone joking and clowning like crazy. But he's so prepared right now. A lot of people are approaching it like a preseason game. He's approaching it like a game. And that's how he's always approached everything, to prepare and to approach it like this is it. I just can't wait to see him get down tonight. But it's going to be a little weird. It's going to be a little strange.
Ways you could look at it. You could look at it and be thankful and take full advantage of the opportunity, you know, or you could look at it like, dang, this is what I've been asking for. I'm not prepared, you know. So I would say I've been able to sleep good at night, you know, knowing I was playing. I didn't know I was playing till, I don't know, one of the days that was close. and then, you know, I just prepared it as normal. But it was definitely that switch and it kicked in. And when you out there on the field, it's different. Like, you understand, ball's ball. You know, the ball never been a problem for me.
That's the sad comedy show Cleveland has turned into. And the circus reached full-blown chaos after Joe Flacco's performance against the Ravens, if you can even call it that. Calling it terrible almost feels too kind. It wasn't just bad football. It was the type of disaster that makes you wonder if Flacco wandered into the wrong stadium thinking he signed up for a charity flag football event. Baltimore didn't even have to break a sweat. They just stood there, watching him float passes like postcards to the wrong zip code, smirking the whole way through. The Ravens' defense barely moved, and yet Stefanski stood on that sideline looking like he was watching his entire career go up in flames, one incomplete pass at a time. The front office saw it, the fans saw it, and even Flacco probably realized it in real time, wondering why he was still out there trying to revive a Browns offense that flatlined the second the coin toss ended. That's the moment when the whispers turned into full-on shouts. Get Shedeur Sanders! That's the order. Enough of the failed experiments, enough of the patchwork quarterback carousel, and enough of pretending a washed-up veteran can carry this franchise on his back. The board finally slammed the gavel down, and Stefanski, who'd been holding out like a guy smacking a busted remote hoping it'll suddenly work, had no choice but to fold. The comedy of it all, his refusal to listen from the start, is exactly what dragged this team into a nightmare. Instant Karma Part 2. Ignore the board, ignore the obvious, and watch your season burn to ashes before the leaves even turn. And now, the twist of fate couldn't be juicier. The same Shedeur Sanders that Stefanski wanted nothing to do with suddenly looks like the lifeline dangling in front of him, under fire from every direction. Fans, players, execs. He's finally getting ready to put the kid on the field.
I'm about to unleash on the Cleveland Browns and what is going on in Cleveland. Sickened by what I saw offensively from the Cleveland Browns. I went back, watched the film, and I almost threw up. I mean, what is going on with the Browns team right now? In the first 2 games, they have an NFL low 2.4 yards per carry in first halves. It's abysmal. Cleveland has also dropped 5 passes through 2 games. That's tied for the most in the NFL. And this is the first time in Browns franchise history that they've started 0-2 while outgaining the opponent.
But let's be clear, it's not because he had some genius master plan or because he suddenly saw the light. No, this is happening because the board is done babysitting his stubborn act. Nothing screams, your job is hanging by a thread, louder than being forced to play the one quarterback you swore wasn't ready. And here's the brutal part. If Shedeur lights it up, Stefanski loses control of the narrative completely. He looks like a clown who held back the one guy who could have saved him weeks ago. If Shedeur struggles, the blame boomerangs right back to the coach for keeping him buried in the first place. Either way, Stefanski is cooked. The optics are savage. Imagine being so out of sync with your own front office that they basically strong-arm you into making the move you should have made from day one. It's like a teacher refusing to call on the smartest kid in class, then after the entire class bombs the test, finally asking the one kid who had the answer the whole time. If Shedeur Sanders steps in against the Ravens and sets the field on fire, everybody's pointing straight at the board as the real masterminds, and Stefanski as the stubborn roadblock who wasted 2 games on pride. If Shedeur struggles, the critics won't let it slide either. They'll demand to know why he wasn't developed earlier, why he wasn't given a chance to grow under less desperate circumstances.
Obviously, he was going against some backup Ravens defenders. They had pulled some starters, and the Ravens were obviously not trying very much. But Dillon Gabriel looked pretty good in his one drive. His touchdown pass was a nice throw, like getting it up over the safety or the corner, whichever it was. So that was encouraging. I feel like we kind of talked about this heading into the season, and like where a good point to see Dillon Gabriel in the, or eventually Shedeur, at least just one of these rookie quarterbacks. And we kind of had our eye on like that week 7 matchup against the Dolphins as maybe the best time to get a.
No matter what, the coach comes out looking like the villain, the guy who fought against common sense until his job was hanging by a single thread. And this right here, this is where karma doesn't just tap Stefanski on the shoulder, it smashes him with a steel chair WWE style, right in front of a sold-out crowd. The Browns board made their stance crystal clear. Their investment, their reputation, their entire season is not about to die on the hill of Joe Flacco's 2-yard checkdowns. They'd rather gamble on Shedeur. And honestly, who can even blame them? Even the most die-hard Flacco defenders had to admit his outing against Baltimore looked like a farewell tour nobody asked for, nobody wanted, and nobody paid tickets to see. The timing makes it all the more hilarious. Just 2 games in, and Stefanski has already managed to alienate the board, rile up the fans, and toss his career straight into a blender set to high.
So, y'all, this is how I feel about this post. I feel like Stefanski is 1,000% a lock to get fired. Andrew Berry is sort of safe, y'all. Hear me out, y'all. He's sort of safe. I think this year's draft picks might have made him safe. Think about it, y'all. He secured us a D tackle, the best D tackle in the draft. He secured us a linebacker, might be the best linebacker in the draft. Then he went ahead and drafted us 2 cold-ass running backs. Quishon Judkins already showed on Sunday he's going to be serious. With the 2 rookie quarterbacks, you got to figure out who can move your franchise forward. And I think.
Meanwhile, Shedeur doesn't even have to do much. Just strapping on pads, jogging onto the field, and taking a single snap is enough to flip the energy in that stadium. It's not just football, it's the promise of something new, something fresh, something that doesn't reek of desperation disguised as leadership. And the fans, they don't need perfection, they just want hope. They're starving for a future that doesn't involve watching Flacco age in slow motion on national TV. If Shedeur gives them even a spark, even a glimpse of what's coming, he won't just win the game, he'll win the entire city. So Stefanski's predicament couldn't be clearer. Play Shedeur and look like you finally caved to the board, then pray the kid makes you look less like a fool. Don't play him, and you risk another loss that could spark a full-blown fan revolt in Cleveland. This is what instant karma looks like when it grows legs, straps on cleats, and stomps straight into your locker room.
This is why I kept saying all summer, and you guys kept yelling at me, why are you playing a 40-year-old quarterback? What is the point? What are you trying to get out of this? Why are they doing this? Well, here you go. You're playing a 40-year-old quarterback who can't move, who can't defend himself. The Ravens are dropping 7 into coverage and saying, all right, Joe, what are you going to do? What's Joe going to do? Nothing. Like, that's why there's nobody open. The Ravens weren't even blitzing yesterday. And part of it is the offensive line. DeJuan Jones, this is a major opportunity for DeJuan Jones to make himself a lot of money and prove to the Browns he can be a franchise left tackle. He's 0 for 2.
The man who refused to listen now has no choice but to obey, and in the process, he's gone from leader to passenger on a runaway train he can't steer. Stefanski doesn't control this season anymore. The Browns' fate isn't about wins and losses now. It's about whether the coach can even survive the wreckage of his own stubbornness. And the irony? Oh, it's delicious. The very quarterback he brushed aside is now the one who could either save him or completely expose him. Maybe even both at the same time. Either way, the circus is rolling on, and the so-called ringleader is looking more and more like the clown with every passing snap. What do you think? Does Stefanski survive this mess, or is Shedeur about to take over Cleveland for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll catch you on the next one.